Hello everyone, welcome to today's lesson. I hope you are doing well. Let's start. Our topic for today is about physical properties of matter. Unit 5, Chapter 2, Lesson 1. Let's start. The first one, let's talk about matter. What is matter and what do we mean by matter? Matter is anything that they have a mass and also they take up a space. Like what? The examples: air, water, wood, and also metal. All the things around us that they have a mass and also they take up a space, they called matter. Now let's move to another vocabulary that we can say it's about physical properties. This is what physical properties are: characteristic of the substance that can be observed and measured without changing the substance. For example, if we have a matter, we can observe something, and so it's due to what? Due to the physical property. And we have a lot of physical property, but here we mention it only about 6 physical properties. Let's start with the first one, which is about the texture. What do we mean by texture? Texture said that how the surface feels. Is it smooth, rough, or soft? Okay, so it's due to what? Due to the texture that we have of the matter, or we can say the object. How's the surface? How's the texture? As you see here, we have some different examples like wood, paper, metal, rock, cotton, and glass. Look, each of the picture have a different surface. Some of them are soft, some of them are rough, and some of them are smooth. So these properties refers to what? To texture. Let's move to malleability. What do we mean by malleability? Malleability is the ability of the substance to hammer it into a thin sheet without breaking. Like what? For example, here we have two different pictures, aluminum and gold. As you see, gold is the most malleable metal that we can hammer it into a thin sheet and also different shape. Why? Because of the property of malleability. We can turn it to a different shape. So one of the example is gold. What about the second one? It is aluminum. Aluminum also is a type of the mineral that we can use it to hammer it into a thin sheet and without breaking and turn it to a foil, and we can use it in our daily life. Let's move to the third property, which is about the ductility. What do we mean by ductility? It's the ability of the substance to be drawn into a thin wire without breaking. Look guys, here we have an example about the ductility, which we called copper. Copper is a type of the metal that we can turn it to a thin wire without breaking. And we can use these thin wires to what? To electricity. Okay, so that's all about the ductility. Now let's move to density. What do we mean by density? It's the amount of mass in a given volume. It helps determine if something floats or sinks. How? Look at here. Here we have a glass of water and oil. As you see here, we have two layers. This one, it's what? It's the oil layer. What about the bottom one? It's the water layer. Okay, why? Why water below the oil? It's because of the density. Because the density of the water is more than the density of the oil. That's why the droplet of the oil floats on the water. And also we have a formula for measuring the density. We can say density equal mass divided volume. So if we have mass and volume, we can find also density. And what about the unit? We can measure it by what? By gram per cubic centimeter. Okay guys? Gram per cubic centimeter. This is the unit of the density. And also, we have 3 states of the matter, okay? Solid, liquid, and gas. As you see that the particles distance different from the solid liquid and gas. So we have gas, liquid, and solid. Look, the density of the liquid is more than the density of the gas. Why? It's because of the particles of the liquid that they are close to each other, and also it's due to the mass. What about the density of the solid? It's more than the density of the liquid. So be careful. Still we move from the gas to solid, the density will be increased. So it will increase. What increase? Density. So the density of the liquid more than the density of the gas, and solid is more than the liquid. So which of the states of the matter has the highest density? It is solid. So it was all about the density. Now let's move to the buoyancy. What do we mean by buoyancy? Buoyancy is the ability of the substance to float in a liquid. How? For example, here we have a picture that shows buoyancy. Here we have different substances: cork, wood, iron. When we put this matter into the water, as you see that cork floats in the water. Wood, also one side is float, the other sink. What about iron? If we put a piece of iron into a water, they will sink. Why? It's because of their mass and also the gravity. Look, let's explain like that. Look here. We have two forces, okay? The force of the weight and also the force of the buoyant force. Look, when we put the matter into the water, there's two forces that affect each other. One of them is the weight of the object that we can say it is Fg, okay? So Fg tries to push the object into the water. What about the buoyant force? It's opposite side, okay? They act in opposite direction. So if the force of the buoyant more than the force of the Fg, the object will be float. What about if the mass of the Fg more than the buoyant force? They will sink. So it was all about the buoyancy. Now let's move to mass. What do we mean by mass? Mass also is a physical property of matter. It says that this the amount of matter in an object, and also we can measure it by using balance. As you see that here we have a balance, we can measure the mass of the object. Like what? For example, we have apples. We can measure it by using the balance, and we can find the mass. And also we learned about the units of the mass. We said that's gram, kilogram, and so for the tiny particles, we can use the milligram. It was all about our lesson for today. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope it was useful for you. See you next lecture.